You're getting the grumpy old Scotsman angle because I'm kind of used to it now. If you don't know what the grumpy old Scotsman is, link in the description. So where have I been for the past 2 months? Well, in between power being cut off because I can't afford it, I'm on universal credit, by the way. Universal credit under the self-employment thing, so you can claim UC but be self-employed at the same time. And the whole point is you need to build up your self-employed business again to go back off of universal credit. And I've got a year to do it, roughly speaking. I've got a year to do it. But between power being cut, my phone being cut, and everything fucking being cut, this happened. You can read that, wrong side, but you can read that while I babble on about May. No, in fact, it wasn't May. It was beginning of spring, the very beginning of spring, March and April of this year, less than a year ago. I blurted out that Labour was putting out a team to investigate the electronic cigarette industry in the UK. And I was called out for it on several forums, several big Facebook groups, and several fan groups for manufacturers based in Shenzhen in China. Guess what? You reap what you sow. It happened. And it was an ongoing investigation that took place, from what I can tell, it took place from May of this year, and the investigation ended halfway through October. And it involved the HMRC and the Department of Trade following money trails, because there is a lot of money trails in this industry. And what they were basically doing is they were trying to track down the bad actors within the electronic cigarette industry. Now, this wrong side, Vic. This post here was posted on a private group in LinkedIn. And that private group, from what I've been led to believe and what I've been told, again via other screenshots, was a small group of people within the HMRC and within the Department of Trade who were working in the tobacco and vaping sector. Whether it be for HMRC to do with investigating, or whether it be the Department of Trade to do with, again, investigating. These two teams, separate from each other, were following the money trail across much of the UK industry. Over 400 independent vape shops were contacted up and down the country to do with complaints that were being put in about pushy sales teams. And it's not just one company. I'm not going to single out one company here, but one of them actually does spring to mind for having a pushy sales team. But pushy sales teams to do with marketing. Some sales teams were walking into independent vape shops and claiming that their brand new pod kit that hadn't been released yet was MHRA approved. This is what they were saying. This is the reports that were going back to the Department of Trade. Marketers for very well-known vape industry manufacturers flat out lying to independent vape shops in order to seal the deal and get the sale. But it's not just that. They were following the money trails to do with influencers and reviewers in the United Kingdom as well. And some of those money trails were very, very large, and some of them were dragged back to the disposable companies who seemed to have suitcases of cash ready to throw at the nearest influencer or so-called reviewer who was willing to take the cash and do not a review, but a full-out advert. This is where the HMRC supposedly got involved. Because under the Advertising Standards Authority in the UK, if you're given a suitcase load of cash, in fact, not just a suitcase load of cash, any cash at all, cash transacted to actually get the video done, you've got to declare it to the HMRC. Simples. You've got to declare it to the HMRC. Turns out that roughly 80% of influencers on Instagram and a small number, I don't know what the number is, but a small number of reviewers in the UK weren't declaring. It's a house of cards. That's what the vaping industry basically turned itself into. And the house of cards basically started being built just after COVID ended, after the lockdown ceased. And the house of cards was built up very quick because of one thing and one thing only: disposables. The disposable companies had suitcases of cash to throw around the reviewer and influencer scene. Personally, I didn't take those suitcases of cash. I'd rather keep my morals intact rather than have a couple of £100 sitting in the bank. But we were getting to the stage in 2023 and 2024 where companies like Geek Vape, and yeah, I'm going to fucking name them, Geek Vape, because I'm not talking to them now anyway, they were sending emails to reviewers saying, okay, we want your review title to say this. And I'm like, oh, okay, you want to name the title? Fine. I'll name the title the way you want it to be named. We want you to make the description like this. And I'm like, okay, that's a bit odd. You want the description in your wording rather than my own independent wording? Okay, fine. Okay, fine. You're going to get your title. You're going to get your description. And then it turned into, 2 minutes into the video, Vic, do you fancy mentioning how the chip inside this pod is the best chip ever released onto the market, far exceeding any chip from OXVA or Vapor SO, even though you've not actually tried those kits yet because they haven't been released yet? Can you mention 5 or 6 minutes into the video, Vic, that the pod is the best tasting pod on the market compared to OXV and Vapor SO? Can you mention 7 minutes into the video, Vic, the battery life and how it's the best battery life ever for a pod of this class? And can you mention 10 minutes at the end of the video, Vic, half a dozen websites in the UK that are selling our pod kits? And I was like, no. And they replied back saying, well, if you're not willing to do this, then I'm sorry, we can't work with you. And I'm like, okay then, fuck off. Literally, that's what I said to them. Okay then, fuck off. Send. I'm not selling my fucking morals for any Shenzhen company. Simple as that. And that's one of the reasons, folks, where I'm not getting a lot to review these days. There's only 2 companies that are left that are still, well, actually 3 companies that are left that are still talking to me. Steam Crave, because they just send the thing in and go, do the video whenever you feel like it, Vic. And I'm like, okay. OXVA, although they haven't sent any of their latest stuff out for a while now, so probably they're not. Well, no, wait, they are talking to me, because I was talking to Zara on WhatsApp. Couldn't remember the name there. I was talking to Zara on WhatsApp not too long ago. Apparently they've got a couple of new podcasts out. And Vapor SO. Vapor SO are actually sending me a Christmas present in a couple of days' time, which is very nice of them. All the other companies that I used to deal with, all of them, Aspire, Vandy Vape, Geek Vape, Vapefly, if they're even still around, and all the others, nah, they're not talking to me now, because I refuse to follow the script. Just flat out refuse to follow the script. Those chickens are coming home to roost, and they're coming home to roost very soon, along with the other flock of chickens that's being mentioned here in this drunken rant by somebody who probably worked in the HMRC or something. This post, by the way, was taken down 2.5 hours later. The guy who typed it was obviously drunk. But that's the thing about LinkedIn, and this is why I keep saying to other reviewers out there, LinkedIn is a gold mine of information if you know who to friend and who to look for. And I've been doing this for, 11 years now? I've been on LinkedIn for the better part of 8 years. I am friends with practically every single vape-related CEO and CTO out there. Some of the things they are saying when they come home drunk are quite frankly scary. Quite frankly scary. And a lot of them, especially in the Department of Trade, especially in HMRC, came to the same conclusion I came to at the very beginning of this year. This industry is its own worst enemy. Think about it. Not only do you have big manufacturers out there openly breaking Advertising Standards Authority rules, not only do you have big influencers and a handful of reviewers out there openly breaking Advertising Standards Authority rules, not only do you have the same reviewers and the same manufacturers openly breaking TRPR, current TRPR rules. All this is going on in the open, and it's going on with impunity, at least until this year. Because this year, the Labour Party went, enough of that shit, we're going to investigate. And that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. This industry is its own worst enemy. And on top of all this, folks, oh yeah, it gets worse. It gets worse. On top of all this, folks, you've got the all-party parliamentary group to do with responsible vaping. And on sitting at the table is the IBVTA, the smaller trade body compared to UK VIA, led by John Dunn. We all know who John Dunn is. UK VIA doesn't have a seat at the table at the all-party parliamentary group to do with responsible vaping. John Dunn of UK VIA has to go through the back door and talk to the House of Lords in order to get the Lords to try and remove some of the more stricter rules and regulations on the current White Bill. And from what I've been led to believe and from what I've seen, John Dunn is having zero luck. So what's the IBVTA doing about all of this? Apparently they're completely in favour of it. VPZ, who used to be a member of UKVIA, VPZ went rogue. They're now no longer a part of any of the trade organisations. They're not a member of the IBVTA and they're not a member of UKVIA. Why did VPZ go rogue? Because VPZ, technically speaking, is the biggest electronic cigarette company in the United Kingdom. They have got just over 200 stores across the UK, many of them franchise, but they still have over 200 stores. VPZ made an announcement 2.5 months ago that they want the Labour Party to ban pre-filled pods. The call for the ban of pre-filled pods was backed up by several members of the IBVTA, and the IBVTA is the same trade body that's got a seat at the table of the all-party parliamentary group to do with responsible vaping. Who is the lead party in the all-party parliamentary group to do with responsible vaping? Oh, that's right, it's Labour. I think you know where I'm going with this. I think you know. Certain members of the IBVTA invested heavily. We're talking millions, well, not millions, £500,000 to £750,000, invested heavily in bottling facilities and bottling machinery for 10ml TPD compliant bottles. If you walk into a VPZ shop, any VPZ shop, you will see behind the counter rows upon rows upon rows of VPZ's own labelled 10ml TPD compliant bottles. The Labour Party has already basically shoved the final nail in the coffin for short fills. Short fills are essentially going to be gone. They're not being banned, but they're being priced out of the bracket. They're being priced out of existence. These are going to be gone by next year. Next on the market is going to be these. This is a long fill version of Drake's Burley Tobacco. I've started going down the road of ordering long fills now because short fills are going to go the way of the dodo next year. So I may as well get used to using long fills now. These are going to be next. Look at the patterns, folks. Look at the patterns. VPZ, along with members of the IBVTA, some members, want pre-filled pods to be ditched, to be banned. The ones already filled with liquid. VPZ and certain members of the IBVTA have been whispering about long fill, the long fill loophole, as some members of the IBVTA are now calling it. They've outright said that the long fill is a loophole to get round the outpricing of short fills. These will be next. They're going to be next. Because the current white paper that's sitting on the table in the House of Lords is a framework, much like the TRPR. The Labour Party can tack on any law they damn well want once that white paper has passed the Lords and goes through the final reading in the House of Commons and it becomes law next year, which it's going to be. It's going to become law next year, no matter what the House of Lords says or does. All Labour has to do in 2027, 2028 is come up with a new law. Long fills are now banned. Along with long fills being banned, pre-filled pods are now no longer to be sold in the market. But why? Well, look at it. VPZ invested the better part of £750,000 on 2 bottling manufacturing places for 10ml bottles of TPD compliant liquids. that they can't sell because everyone's buying short fills or everyone's buying the long fills from Riot Squad that they also sell in VPZ. Look at certain members of the IBVTA, one of them being Totally Wicked, who has their own 10ml bottle line out in Totally Wicked shops. Follow the patterns. They're all there. So not only do you have certain big industry players in the UK stabbing the consumer in the back, you've got certain big industry players, marketing teams, stabbing the independent vape shops in the back by lying, bald-faced lying to their face in order to get that sale, in order to get that commission. Flat out lying about their latest pod being MHRA passed and compatible. No such thing exists. No such thing exists. At least with the current generation of pod kits out there. Not a thing. It's not a thing. And I'm sitting here, when the power's actually on, I'm sitting here thinking, is this fucking worth it anymore? Is it? Is it worth it anymore? Is it worth doing reviews knowing that the industry that you're trying to support is busy hammering the final nails into its own coffin, not realising that they're hammering the nails in? I've only got 3 companies that are still talking to me, because I basically told the rest of them to fuck off because I'm not selling my soul to do a review for them, even though I needed the fucking money, but I'm not selling my fucking soul to do it. The last thing you want to do when you're a reviewer in any kind of sphere, whether it be a tech reviewer, whether it be an e-cig reviewer, or whether it be any other kind of reviewer, is you don't want to sell the soul of your channel down the road in order to get more money, because the minute that word gets out, nobody will trust you ever again. Sure, this channel's not making any money anymore. Sure. But I'm fine with that. At least the channel is still respected. On the flip side of that coin, SourceMore got in contact with me. So I'm in tentative talks with SourceMore, based over in Shenzhen in China, to have small care packages of review samples being sent to the house. Now, it won't be the latest and greatest kit, but it will be some of the newer kits that SourceMore are selling that they're going to send over here. And no money is changing hands. None whatsoever. None. See, I can still do reviews. I'm safe, because as far as I even though I mentioned down there, where is it? The findings will be held over to the HMRC and the Department of Trade UK. Some big fines, possibly. Where is it? Oh, there we go. A certain Scottish vape reviewer had heard rumours of this 5 months ago and blurted it out on his chat. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I should have kept my mouth shut, but I couldn't fucking help it. It was like big news at the time. Hey, the Labour Party's going to be investigating the electronic cigarette industry. Nobody fucking listened. Nobody listened. It was like, fine. You're all going to be fined. I'm not. And we're not talking little fines either. 10,000, upwards of 10,000. I think £10,000 fines the baseline. But for larger companies, you're talking £500,000, £750,000, up to £1 million fine, with the possibility of having your trade licence suspended in the UK. If it's an egregious, continuous, like ongoing breaking of the rules, which, let's face it, some of these big companies are actually guilty of. I can see some trade suspensions being announced, probably summer next year. Probably summer. No skin off my nose. Because I don't vape in pods. I'm still vaping in this stuff. But there we go, folks. I decided, even though I do have a handful of items, including that new thing from Steamcrave, I decided to sit back and wait. Wait to see what the repercussions was after this happened. After this happened. And from what I've been hearing, from the whispers that are going on, from drunken ramblings, like, I'm telling you, if you're an e-cig reviewer, a legit one that is, go and join LinkedIn and friend all the CEOs of all the vape companies. You will have fits of laughter at what some of them type at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning UK time. or whatever it is late at night over in Shenzhen if some of them come back home drunk. You will be in fits of laughter. But some of the stuff that they type is extremely worrying. Extremely worrying. Some CEOs of some vape companies I've never heard of over in Shenzhen, they're calling the UK industry a dead carcass. That's the way they're looking at the UK industry now. A dead carcass. Their words, not mine. Especially after, and this was more especially after Labour came into power, because a lot of the Shenzhen companies knew what was going to happen next. Labour would get their hands in Rishi Sunak's tobacco and vapes bill and add shitloads of stuff to the end of it that would essentially start the collapse of the industry. And certain sectors in Shenzhen are calling the UK industry a dead carcass. Whether it is or whether it isn't, that's not for me to decide. But I came to the decision about 2 weeks ago that the UK needs its own grim green. It does. The UK needs its own grim green. Somebody is going to sit down in front of a camera and tell the news with no silver lining attached to it. Just the news. Nobody else is doing it, so I thought, you know what, Vic, you may as well do it. You've pissed off about 90% of the e-cig companies out there already. So if you mention some of these electronic cigarette companies for breaking laws in the UK, what are they going to do? Not send you anything to review? Oh, that's right, they're not sending me anything anyway, so fuck it. So probably starting sometime next month, I need to get the financial thing sorted first, but probably starting sometime next month, there is going to be a regular news. Not live, it's going to be a regular recorded news segment. I'm probably going to aim for 2 a week. That's what I'm going to aim for. And it's essentially going to pick apart everything, literally everything, the APPG, the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Responsible Vaping, is saying in public. And it's going to pick apart everything to do with the future Labour government plans are to do with vaping. And if any major rumour breaks on LinkedIn, it's going to be in this channel. It's going to be in this channel because nobody else is doing it. Nobody else is doing it. It would surprise you how many people out there are stumbling around completely oblivious to what's coming in 2026. Totally oblivious. They have no clue what's about to happen to this industry in 2026. Vast segments of it are going to collapse just because of the shortfall thing that's happening. And then, of course, there's this. What the repercussions of that is going to be anyone's guess, but there's going to be serious repercussions going on, probably halfway through summer to the end of summer of 2026. When all the rule breakers that broke the TRPR, when all the rule breakers that broke the Advertising Standards Authority rules consecutively over the past 3, maybe 4 years, finally has all their chickens coming home to roost. So, if this is the kind of thing you want to see, well, you don't have a choice. You're going to be seeing it in the channel anyway, because I don't have much to review these days. But this is the kind of thing you're going to be seeing in the channel. If you want to support the channel, yeah, join my Patreon down there. There's no YouTube members anymore because YouTube basically pulled the plug on that. This channel, the actual channel itself, doesn't make any money because it's been completely demonetized from the ground up. If you want to support me with the new news that's going to be being broadcasted on this channel from round about halfway through December onwards, link to my Patreon is down there. I'm not asking for much, folks, because I'm already on Universal credit anyway. But if you can spare a couple of bucks a month, that would suit me fine. That would suit me fine. Can you tell? The angry old Scotsman's back in the channel again. Yeah. The little angry man at the back of my head, it was like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Be nice. I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm looking at this industry, seeing big industry players in the UK just stabbing the consumer in the back. It's like, fuck you. You won't have fucking short fills. Fuck you. You won't have long fills. Fuck Fuck you with your pre-filled pods. Fuck your pre-filled pods. I want to sell more 10ml bottles of my shitty, over-sweetened VPZ juice. Fuck you. So all that's going on, and then you've got the big manufacturers breaking laws all over the fucking place. This industry is its own worst enemy, and the Labour Party have finally realised it. And that's the worry right there. We all know how bad the Labour Party are. We're seeing it out there. If you watch the Grumpy Old Scotsman, again, link to the Grumpy Old Scotsman's down there. If you watch the Grumpy Old Scotsman channel, it's one thing after another that goes seriously wrong for Labour. If Labour decide to listen to the IBVTA and listen to VPZ, which they'll probably end up doing, you're going to be looking sometime in 2026, end of 2026, beginning of 2027, long fills being banned and pre-filled pods being banned. Labour don't have a clue what they're doing with this industry. They have no clue. They're not willing to listen to UK VIA. John Dunn is forced to go through the back door of the House of Lords because, for all intents and purposes, UK VIA has essentially been blackballed from the all-party parliamentary group to do with responsible vaping, because the IBVTA have both hands and both claws firmly embedded into that body. Yeah, things are going to be interesting next year, folks. Very interesting. Again, if you want to support the channel, the link to the Patreon or Subscribestar is down there. And if you want to see me ranting about politics, link to the Grumpy Old Scotsman's down there as well. So these regular news videos, they're going to be kicking off before Christmas. It'll be before Christmas. I've got some financial problems that I need to deal with at the house first before we get into all that. I'm already talking to the Citizens Advice Bureau. Fucking everything's expensive. Everything's expensive. Fucking electricity, gas, and my mother needs both of those on because she's in her early 80s now and she feels the cold a lot more than I do. But everything's so fucking expensive now. Jeez, me, here's the thing. I remember starting this channel up 11 years ago when I was still on disability, and we managed fine. Things were a bit tight 11 years ago, but we managed fine. See now? Nope. Power was switched off in this house for a day and a half last weekend. Couldn't afford the electricity bill. My mobile that's sitting over there, switched off, cut off. It was cut off a month and a half ago. Can't afford the bill. Like, everything's so fucking expensive. Everything's so expensive. Fuck me. Anyway, that is it. That is it from me, folks. Just thought I would do a quick special what's up to let you know that I'm still alive. I'm still alive, more angrier than ever though, which is probably a good thing considering the shithole that the industry has led the vaping scene into. That's it from me, folks. Have a good one.